Well, hello there, it's Amanda Creative Gardener. Welcome to the garden. I thought I would give you a beginning of March tour of parts of the garden, seeing how things have been growing. And we've got a lovely surprise for you, so stay tuned. There's something that's in glorious bloom and I want you to see it. You would just be amazed. I'm amazed at how luscious they've become. Anyway, so let's just have a look at some of the things in the garden. The papayas, I've got 5 papayas growing currently. One's a male, this one's a female. I've got one, oops, it's hiding here. It's got lots of fruit on it. Let's have a look. So it's this one here. I've got a problem at the top. We have a problem with slugs and snails, and the snails love the leaves and the flowers, so they've been munching on the top. And then I think a monkey got to this one. It's taken a bite out of that one, and I've noticed a spot here which may mean, something's trying to, either the slugs crawled on it and made it, I don't know what's happened, but it looks like it could, that first bit there is the slug damage, and then there's definitely a couple of bites out of there, so that's the monkeys. And I was surprised, this one, I'm going to pick it because and let it ripe inside, because I was surprised that it hadn't taken a bite out of this one, the biggest one there yet. And what have we got here? We've got the elephant ears. It's growing really nicely. So this is the male papaya. The flowers has got such a beautiful scent. The slugs love this one as well. And again, it will try and eat the flowers, but this one has managed to withstand it. And I've got a couple of smaller ones that are growing in the back there, along the bank. So let's go and have a look at the rest of the garden. Here we go. So we'll go in this first section. This Dracania has been growing. I had decided to see how high it could grow. So it is growing very tall. I may have to take some cuttings, and our guinea, or what Barbadians know as ackee. I've got a few plants that are growing, and I'm trying to keep them at a certain height because they can grow into a massive 30-40 foot tree, and this is not actually the spot for a 30-40 foot tree. In here I took some cuttings, and so I was trying to see how they fare, but it doesn't look like they survived. And my hedge here is growing nicely. I had wanted to grow a hedge, and it's coming on, just needs to bush out a bit more, so I'll need to trim it back a bit. But yeah, it's doing what it needs to do. So everything is, we're going through a drier season, so everything is, the more vulnerable plants I've been watering. My cassava here and my 5-fingered fruit seem to have given up, so I'm going to cut the cassava for the sticks and then replant that. And I think there was some another slug or something that was trying to eat it. We've got some new growth here at the top there, so that's good in some of the spots, but some of the branches are gonna die, like this one, so that's slug damage here. But generally things are kind of faring, or going through that stage. When it gets drier, we have slower growth, obviously. Some of the things thrive, and that's the thing that's in bloom at the moment. And in this bed, I'd covered the beds. You would have seen in maybe previous videos where we've covered the beds. This is the mahogany leaf. When I trim the trees, I usually drop the leaves for any of the trees that we have that I'm trimming. I drop the leaves and put it on the beds so that during the dry season we can retain the moisture in the beds. It's my Suriname cherry. That's doing fairly well, but the leaves get smaller during the drier season. And they don't grow as profusely. So this is an actual tree. So we'll just see. Once it starts to rain, it will be fine. My mango tree has been flowering, but some of the flowers died back. I noticed a few yesterday, so I'm not going to spend too much time gazing at it, because that may have it's just like, oh, here she is again, checking up on us. I've planted some passion fruit, the yellow passion fruit, and just trying to tend those. Some of the ones here were eaten. I grew about 50 seeds germinated, and I've put them in different parts of the garden. So here we have one here, but again it looks like a slug or a snail has eaten the leaves. But I've got some in pots that I'm tending to, and they seem to be doing well. And generally this is my deadwood hedge. So I put all the larger branches here, and that separates us from the organic farmer on the other side. We had high winds one year and it blew over his water storage container, which he never decided not to put up, back up. So I've got to build this up again. And so when I'm trimming some branches, to put it here. The other thing I decided to do was grow some plants here. So we've got the soursop here. This is soursop. And I've got some of the Quadrella indica, which is here. It has a really lovely smelling flower and long pods. And then we've got a curry leaf plant here. So I've planted this all along here. I had loads of seedlings that had... Let's have a look at the mother tree. So this is the mother tree. You're a grandmother. So here are the flowers. The flowers there, and they really smell sweet. And then they develop these long pods. So I thought the birds were taking the seeds away, but they were just dropping them here. So I've got a lot more of the seedlings that have germinated to move in other parts of the garden. But again, it's better to move it when it's a more wetter time. So I'm going to leave these here for now and see how they grow, and then they'll be easier to move in the more wetter season. So for some reason the rocks seem to continually form, even though when I first started working here I had removed all the rocks and just created like the borders. So, but you can see a lot of the rocks, there's a lot of tiny rocks that over the years, some of the soil may have receded, and the rocks are there, welcoming. But I did this recently, I got some of the larger rocks, and just to find some of the beds just a bit more. So let's see this wonderful in bloom. You can see a peek of it here. My aloe vera plants have been doing very well here. And I know when the ground is a lot drier, when we start to see them in flower. So they started off, if you look at one of my shorts, I showed all the little buds coming out. So some of them have double heads and some of them have triple. When I first planted them and they started to grow, we only had these ones with the single heads. But this year, this one, all of them have got double heads, triple heads. Some have two flowers actually coming out of the same plant. You can see one here with a triple head. And it really is nice just to take a look and just see the colour. The main colour we have here in the garden is yellow, green and red and some pink. Oh yeah, and white. So I'm looking to get even more colour in the garden. So look at this one. So this has got a triple head and it's got two stems coming from the same plant. Isn't that amazing? Or maybe it isn't. Maybe that's what they do. And it's just because it's happening now. But it is, as I say, when they first started to grow, they just had single heads. And now they've got double and triple. And that means there are going to be more instances of seed pods, because I only found a few. Look at this one. It's got triple, two of them coming out of the same plant. You can see it coming out there. I think it's just lovely. But not every one of them will have a seed pod. I initially thought once these died down, they were going to form the seed pods. So we'll just keep an eye. But it's not the actual flower itself, but they do form. Let's take a look around here. Just opposite here, we've got a nice showing the gulls along here, showing their beauty. And the birds are having a field day, the hummingbirds. I saw a yellow banana quit go up in there and get some nectar from the flowers. It's just such a lovely sight to see all of the birds making use, feeling at home in this space. And we've come to the moringa patch, which again, because of the drier weather, we're not seeing as many leaves on the trees. We're only seeing, at the moment we're seeing the pods, and we've got an abundance of pods growing there, and that shows you how many flowers each of them had. And this will not only, I will not only use it in cooking the pods, I use it in stews, soups and eating the seeds, but the parakeets also love it. They love the seeds and they'll come, and the ones, the pods or the drumsticks that are at the very top, I'll allow, they get those ones and they crack them open and eat the seeds. Cole there. Hey Cole. Hello, where are you going? He's looking over the hedge. So I recently cut the Jacob's coat back. I need to cut it a bit more. Again, when we get drier weather, the leaves start to droop. So I'm just taking this top bit off. I've done part of it, and then that will help it. And then I'll just chop and drop it around it. Okay, the sun's coming out. There we've got some more here in full glory. And again, this is how, they started out. But coming out from the, base of the stem. So the noni tree has really grown. from the last time I shared in my video. I'm going to come on the other side. It's my other variety of the, I'm saying it wrong, Dracania. Look at that. And I'm going to ferment the actual fruit. So you can see one nearly ready. When they go white and translucent, then I'll bottle them. What else? Neem trees are getting taller. I need to trim that back. Again, another 40-footer that is just like, no, we want everybody to have enough space because we've got mango on either side. I'm going to be trimming them. Some more guinnep / ackee. And I'll show you another area. So here's an area I just cleared. It's beside the well, and I had created a circular kind of border with the aloes. And what I wanted to plant here was things like the pumpkin, okra, things that don't really have a deep-rooted structure. But the pumpkin could run along here, and the squash. Again, I've had issues with the slugs and the snails, but what I've initially done is laid down cardboard, because it was just grass, laid down cardboard, and I've just been chopping and dropping just to build up, because everything's going to break down, and I'll plant seeds in between and then nurture them. We've got some more of the aloes that I planted around here. So for most of the borders, I've taken the aloes. These are quite dry, so I'm going to have to water them. They're in direct sunlight and they're having an issue. So just around here and around here, we've got our banana here, which is has got a little pop to it. And just generally, yeah, just doing, some, oh my gosh. Look at that. That's a monkey. Oh, I should have been checking this every day. So this is a soursop. I didn't think I would get issues with the monkeys. They are in. Look at that tree over there. I'm sure they're watching me now. That big tree over there. That's again guinnep / ackee, and they live up in there. And a couple have been seen running across the garden, so they've had this eye on it. But see, that's what they do. They don't. I wouldn't mind if you ate the whole fruit. Take the fruit if you need it, if you're hungry. But they just take a bite out of it and then go. If there were several fruit on this tree, they would have just taken a bite out of practically all of them. And it's almost like a vindictive streak. I don't know, that's what people say, they're vindictive. Because, again, you should have just eaten the whole fruit. I don't mind. Eat the whole fruit, take it. But don't just... They've already eaten 2 of the fruit that were on this tree, and I thought they were going to leave me this one because it was in that kind of position. I guess it was in nose shot of them as they're running across the garden. I should have kept a closer eye. Anyway, but it's happened. So what I'll do with that is remove the seeds and then plant up the seeds in other parts of the garden and just see how it goes. I have had 1 from this tree, so I'm grateful for that, and there will be many more. And then in the rest of the garden, it's coming on, the grass has just been cut. There are, plants that are just in their younger stage. And again, I will be taking the aloes and bringing it all around the border. I have to cut back the, oh my gosh, broadleaf thyme, and build up the deadwood hedge here just a bit more. So I'm going to do some more trimming, like this river tamarind tree needs a bit of a trim. They all three of them here do. I'm going to be keeping them at this particular height of this one. So I'm going to be getting on with some work. I've got some more papaya seeds to sow, and they're from it's a hermaphrodite papaya, so it has both male and female. This one here is a hermaphrodite one. It's growing very spindly. Again, it's had issues. I've had to keep protecting it from the slugs and the snails. I need to find some copper tape. Apparently that helps. So I've got some more seeds to plant out, and so I'm going to put them in various spots of the garden, and the ones that thrive will be where they need to be, and do some cutting back. And I hope you've found that useful. The thing to do is just continue to experiment, and I don't use any pesticides here. I've been creating my own neem, soaking it in oil. I had some soaking for months, and then I've been using that, and it does work if you have problems. Like, I'll show you one problem that I have with this particular plant. There was this kind of foamy white pest. It's not on there now because I sprayed it with the neem, but this is how it starts. So when it gets really dry, they start to have issues, and there's an issue. I don't know whether you can see it, the white stuff. So that's a pest that I'm going to deal with, and then just check it, trim it, and then it should be fine. But the splashes of colour we have currently is the aloes, which is lovely, and we've got some young pomegranates coming up, and a bird